Be Different podcast is back in the downtown studio. Brad Redford here, as always, with Greg Wichard and Nick Given. And right now we have an unplugged interview with the coach calling in all the way from Michigan, a guy I've known for a long time, has over 15 years of coaching experience at the college level, heavily tied into the AAU scene in Michigan, was recently down at the Final Four in San Antonio. A friend of mine, a guy that I respect his basketball knowledge, and we're very fortunate to have him on the phone today. That's Coach Kevin White, current assistant coach at Kalamazoo College. Kevin, thank you for coming on the Be Different podcast.
Well, it's always good to talk to you. It's been a while, but yeah, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The last time I think we ran into each other was probably 2 or 3 years ago over at Hype Athletics over there in Dearborn. There was a camp or training going on. It's hard to remember because I feel like I bounce around to different camps and stuff on weekends.
We always run into each other in the gym. It seems like that. I can't get a Frankenmuth kid to come play for me, but I always seem to run into him in the gym.
I know that's the only place I ever see you. One of these days we'll have to catch up. We'll have to go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So what's your schedule? What's your schedule like right now?
Right now, we just finished up our 2018 class.
Okay.
We're really excited about that. We're putting the final touches on that. And we started recruiting the 2019 class Friday at 5 o'clock with the first travel tournament of the year up in Grand Rapids. So small college basketball and big college basketball is really, the calendar isn't that much different. We try to navigate and get kids on campus early on and kind of start the recruiting process early, and then we'll have summer camps just like every other institution will have in June, and then back on the road in July.
Well, Kevin, you obviously have your background in coaching. You have a really solid understanding of all levels, D3, D2, as well as D1. On this show recently, when people call in, a lot of the time what we're talking about right now is at the Division I level, just a lot of the feedback that people are giving right now and the perception of what Division I college basketball is right now isn't that good. You see it on a different level, on a day-to-day basis as well. I mean, can you speak to the different levels of college basketball and what the perception maybe should be?
Well, I think part of the perception I've noticed is that we, like Tubby Smith touched on in his interview, we had 800 transfers to Division I, and then we probably had lesser numbers by the level. But I think we also have coaches that are moving around and taking different jobs. So like the big thing for me has been loyalty. And I think at the smaller college level, our student athletes understand the importance of getting an education, and they're going to be pros in something else besides basketball. I've got 36 plus alums that have gotten their MBA. I've got judges, I've got doctors. So at an institution like ours, it's a totally different outlook. But as a coach, we've got to take a look at, why are kids leaving so soon? Or why are coaches coaching at one place for 1 year and going somewhere else? So the perception, like you said, is like, why are we allowing all this stuff to happen? Why aren't there rules in place to get kids to stay? Why are we asking them why are they leaving? You chose Xavier because, and then you ended up staying because, but your head coach was there for the whole time you were there. So I think that's part of the issue with me looking at it as a basketball guy is I don't like the fact we've got so many kids leaving. I mean, it's about education at the end of the day.
Yeah, the transferring and players leaving, all the time, that number seems to continue to go up and up and up. What is the biggest reason for that? Is it coaches leaving? Like, in your opinion, why are players seeming to, leave their school so quickly? They're somewhere for 6, 7, 8 months, then they're gone. They stay for 2 years, then they're gone, or they go somewhere else. I mean, we're seeing players that during a 4 or 5 year tenure of their college career playing at as many as 3 schools.
I think we have a transfer thing going on right now in men's basketball at the Division I level. In my opinion, I think it's the guys aren't invested in the program right away. They've never been told no. They've never been told it's not going to work out. From their travel coach to their high school coach, they've always been the man. When you come in as a freshman at a really good institution, there's going to be competition. Well, the cream always rises to the top, and sometimes it's harder it's easier just to leave and go find the next hot thing than to stay and try to work it out. A lot of these young men, I think, if they really just wanted to be at the school, would find a make it work. And I think a lot of these guys they're not happy where they're at because they're not getting the playing time. They don't understand when they come in as a freshman, they're not asking the questions in the recruiting process to find out where their minutes are going to be. Like, am I going to play as a freshman? Look at the roster before you go on your visit. Well, they've got 4 point guards, and I play point guard. Well, why would you commit to a school like that if you expect to play a lot as a freshman? They've already got 4 guys on the roster that are a year stronger, a year older, and know the system. So, like, a lot of these kids are leaving because they get there and think it's going to be one way and it ends up being another.
Well, and then also, as a coach, do you look at the loyalty piece from players? So, like, I think about my career, growing up, I was always loyal to the teams that I played for. From, I played on, the Tri-City Storm for 5 years, from, 4th grade to 8th grade. And then, once I moved from the Tri-City Storm, I played for the Michigan Mustangs from, 9th grade to 12th grade, my whole high school career. And then I went to Xavier, and I played at Xavier, for my whole tenure. So loyalty was always kind of a piece of my playing career, growing up. Is that something that you look at for players? Because, I played with some guys, too, who would jump AAU teams, jump different schools. They may have played for, 5 different AAU programs. Is that something that you look at as a coach?
I think that's the number one thing. I think it's about building relationships. I think that I've been on programs where the culture has always been undefeated. And I think of programs that you just mentioned, the institution you played at Xavier, their culture has never lost in a game. It's won more games than they've lost. So I think loyalty and being dedicated to your teammates and your brothers, the guys that you play with in college will probably be the guys that stand up in your wedding. And I think the guys sometimes lose sight of that at the end of the day. You only get 4 years to play in college. So I think loyalty and being a part of a program and being a part of an institution and leaving your mark is more important than wins and losses. As I've gotten older as a coach and learned, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and so how did you paint the picture to guys that play at your level? Because, you see a lot of players coming up through the high school ranks. They want to play in the NCAA tournament. They see these guys, on TV. They see the one shining moment, Villanova winning a national championship. And the stories that you do see, more often than not are positive, right? Because those guys are on TV and they're excited. But there's also a lot of, negative stories behind the scenes at the Division I level where guys don't have a good experience, or a lot of guys transfer from Division I, to Division II because maybe it wasn't the right fit. So how do you approach a player, 15, 16, 17 years old, where he's not maybe getting those Division I looks or those accolades to play, at that level? So how do you paint him the picture, to play, at Kalamazoo College?
That's a great question. The first thing I do is get him around our guys, our players. And the second thing I do is I get our recruits around our alumni base. Our alumni base at Kalamazoo College is really, really good, and they're going to help me explain to the young man, if you come to this institution, what we'll be able to help you with while you're a student here, and then when you're done playing here, how we can help you. And a lot of kids that end up playing at our level get that picture painted for them pretty clearly when they get around people that have walked in their shoes already. Like, hey, I was a first-team All-State guy at a Class A high school, and I just didn't get the looks through my travel team, but I ended up coming to a school like this, and now I've got this opportunity, and I had a great playing career, and I was allowed to play for 4 years and those kind of things. So for someone like me, when in the recruiting process, I try to get you on campus because I think we have a great campus. I try to get you around our players and try to get you around our former players who are now gone and come back and those kind of things.
Well, yeah, and you as a coach, you have to serve so many roles. You're not just a coach, you're a mentor. You're a parent sometimes you're a brother, sometimes you're a friend, and you have a family as well. And, can you speak to the coaching aspect of your life and just how much of a commitment that is as well?
Well, it's a job where you don't punch in and punch out, but I was smart to marry our head athletic trainer at our institution.
Nice.
So she's 100% bought in, which is great, which is also good for our players as well. But it's a job, and you have to have a passion for what you do. You got to wake up every day and understand that if you want to do this, you got to be in with your whole heart and understand there's going to be times where you've got to sit in an ER with a player, or you got to go up to a dorm room and talk to a player through a situation, and you got to understand that you're always constantly learning and you're always constantly trying to get better every day to help improve your program. And it's see where the chips fall. I mean, it's important. The games are really important, but it's the time invested with the players and the recruiting process and their families and the people you get to meet. Getting opportunities like this is why you do it. Yeah.
When did you make that decision that you wanted to be, a head coach professionally, or be a coach at this level professionally?
Oh, I was probably about, to be honest, you're gonna laugh, probably 13 or 14.
Yeah, so you're
I
ready.
said, I'm 5'9", Brad. I'm not going to the NBA. I'm left-handed. I couldn't shoot it like you, But then I would just watch games and go, how do you get to the guy in the suit? He gets to do it for 20-some years.
Right.
I started doing the math. I'm going to get to play till I'm what? 18, 19, 20? But then what am I going to do? Well, I really don't want to go into the office from work 9 to 5. I mean, I just got back from San Antonio. I've been to several Final Fours. I've been to several different states like you have been. I've been to Division I practices. It's been great. It's been great.
Awesome. What would you say is the best part about being a coach? Right now, today, off season, what's the best part about, your job that you'll get to go to this afternoon?
Oh, it's the best part. I'm going to see my players in a lift and a workout, ask them how classes are going, and then Friday afternoon, I'm hitting the road and going to find some future Hornets. For me, it's a great thing. I get to sit in a gym for 3 days with other college coaches and talk ball and watch high school players try to impress us and play hard in the Storm Classic. I think it's a great time of year to kind of get you rejuvenated for your next class.
All right, and lastly, I want to ask you one more question before I get you out of here. When you go on the road, recruiting and maybe speaking to players that are going through a big offseason, playing in front of coaches, what do you like to see out of a sophomore or a junior or a guy going into his senior year? What do you want to see from him on a weekend when you're going out recruiting?
The 3 things I look for: body language, communication, hustle plays. Body language tells me a lot. As you see, watch a lot of basketball. Biggest pet peeve of mine, for example, a guy comes out of the game, doesn't touch any of his teammates or coaches, pulls his jersey out, sits at the end of the bench. Hustle plays are things you cannot, you can't coach hustle plays. Either you got it in you or you don't. You're going to dive on the floor, you're going to take charges, you're going to rebound. Might help you in your cause to hit a couple shots every now and then, but can you guard, can you rebound? And then just, overall effort, and then I like to watch the young men warm up, I think it's so important in travel basketball when you're out recruiting and you're watching these guys, you got to find the little details that are going to catch your eye. Is he actually going hard in the warm-up, or is he cool dogging it? You know what I mean? And then you've seen him just as much basketball as I have. You can tell the difference between a guy that's really getting after it and getting ready to go to war, or is just trying to just go out and just kind of play on a half speed, not really go hard, and then when the lights come on, try to go hard.
Awesome. Well, Coach Kevin White, we appreciate you coming and joining the Be Different podcast. It's always great catching up with you. Hopefully I'll get to see you here shortly, but good luck as you go on the hard recruiting trail this offseason, picking up players that go to Kalamazoo College. But thanks again for coming on early this morning.
All right, thanks for having me. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep, see you, Coach.